You're not serving your comfort. You're not serving your pacing. You're serving their processing. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Kristi Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Kristi Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Hey, welcome back to Foster Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Kristi Foster. On my goal setting or goal accomplishing journey, I keep hearing one word: consistency. All the influencers will tell you that if you want to improve anything, your health, your business, your communication, you have to do small things consistently. Small successes executed consistently over time is how you build a new habit. Now, don't worry. I'm not here to debunk that. I mean, ultimately, that is the way we create new neural pathways and create the habits we're wanting. But I know for myself that I have a tendency to overfunction when it comes to habit change and skill development. I mean, I map it all out. I do the time blocking on my calendar. I set up the accountability groups, and I am full steam ahead. Now is the time to treat this as a priority, protect it, and don't sacrifice my personal growth for anything. I have a plan for consistency, but then, life happens. The schedule juggling happens, and it needs to. There are responsibilities and people that rely on me, and I want to give life energy to them. But before I know it, my perfect paper schedule is just out the window. And I'm back to square one. And it's not that the plan was bad. It's that the plan assumed a version of me that didn't exist yet. Do you do this too? It's not just me, right? This is pretty common, I think. So when I came across Karen's post from Body Brain Alliance, I felt immediate relief because she challenged the very thing I thought I needed more of: consistency. She actually talked about rebuking the word consistency. It was a little tongue-in-cheek, but also as a behavior change PhD. She has some expertise in this, and I found it really worthwhile. I'll post a link to her reel in my show notes for you so you can watch it yourself. But basically, she was sharing about how she went for a run for the first time in like 5 years or something like that. And that there was this strong temptation to lean into, I'm going to go running every day. Consistency. She goes on to say that consistency requires a high-level knowledge of the obstacles that come with the behavior or the habit you're working on. But when you're just starting a new behavior or you haven't done the thing in a long while, you're totally unfamiliar with those obstacles. She talks about the Zone of Proximal Development, or CPD, as the cool kids are saying. It's basically the sweet spot for learning. It's where something is challenging enough to make you grow, but not so hard that it shuts you down. She says, quote, if information lies outside the CPD, the learner will be unable to master it, whereas tasks below the zone are already within their independent capability, end quote. So she goes on to say that if she were to set a goal of running consistently 4 times a week, that would absolutely be outside her zone. And the empowering thought for me is that we need to adjust our expectations. It's unreasonable to expect, as she says, that she could go from not running at all to running consistently, especially if that expectation was created over one decision overnight. You just get this harebrained idea, I'm going to be a runner. And that's where it hit for me. I get these well-intentioned, but admittedly harebrained ideas that somehow I think I'm now suddenly going to be consistent and create this life I expect for myself. I mean, now that I'm actually breaking it down and saying it out loud, it's a little delusional. And yet, that's exactly how I've been approaching it. Okay, so she gives her listeners a doable process instead. First, just do the behavior once. Once. Not forever, not consistently, not perfectly, just once. Put the thing, the skill, the behavior, whatever, on your calendar and do it one time. That is something the brain can wrap around. When the moment inevitably comes when your brain says, but I don't want to, you don't have to convince it to do the thing and all the future things that you imagine you need for consistency. You just have to do the one thing, one time. Let your brain out of the high pressure commitment. It's a one-time deal. That's how you get past the obstacle of lack of motivation. Next, after you've done it just once, now you can start to build frequency. You're not committing to a lifestyle. You're just repeating a single win. Get success by doing it once, and then do that one thing a few more times. And each time you do the one thing, you encounter new obstacles and you figure out ways to address them just for that time. Again, you're not letting yourself get caught up in the pressure of having to do this behavior in perpetuity yet. You're just doing it once, overcoming the obstacle, and then choosing to do it once again and overcome a new obstacle. Build frequency. Then, after 10 to 15 repetitions, you've built something far more valuable than consistency. You've built awareness. You've been able to identify and address the various obstacles. These are the thoughts and feelings and the schedule conflicts and the lack of motivation, all the things that come up. It's being able to have a catalog of the obstacles and how you handle each one that then will promote you to consistency. Hearing her talk about this and outline it kind of a different mindset really took the pressure off of me somehow. I have big long-term goals, and with them, probably because I'm an intentional person who skews towards intense, I tend to live in big long-term pressure, which inevitably leads to big long-term guilt and shame over each short-term failure. This was a really powerful shift for me, and I'm grateful that she offered it. And this shift moves me out of pressure and into progress. And I hope it does the same for you. I'd love to hear from you and see how this reframe of consistency changes things for you. Do you overfunction like me and find yourself kind of in this cycle going nowhere? What do you think of this rebuking the C word, as she calls it, the C word being consistency, and then going from one time to building frequency? What do you think of that approach? Send me an email at Kristi@fostervoicestudio.com send me a DM on the socials. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. If you've been listening for a little while, this might feel like a repeat, and honestly, it is. Today's episode might feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but the reminder bears repeating because it is still such a difficult communication technique for folks to master. And this is one of the hardest skills to actually implement. So forgive me if this feels like old hat for you, but you're in the minority. Every couple of months, I just need to outline the critical impact of pacing, pausing, and breathing in hopes that you'll start getting more confident in testing out this specific strategic tool. So let's just remind ourselves that silences created by pausing are not nothing happening. I know you have fears when it comes to silences, especially in court. Maybe that you'll look unprepared or uncertain. Maybe that you'll lose momentum. Maybe that you won't match the same blustery energy of opposing counsel and their approach will be more persuasive. From my vantage point as a juror type person, I can tell you that those fears do not have merit. I get it, and I need you to know that I hear you, but that's just simply not what's happening based on your silence alone. When you create a pause, jurors do not automatically assume that you've lost your train of thought or that you don't have confidence or that you're not prepared, not passionate, or whatever. Now, they will think that if you don't use the pause wisely. So, what do I mean by that? Pausing itself doesn't create the perception of insecurity or that you're lost. It's the physical discomfort you exhibit in the pause that creates that perception. The silence isn't the problem. Your behavior inside the silence is. Fidgeting, unfiltered frenetic energy, filler words. These are the things that make you look uncomfortable and underprepared, not the silence. In strategic silence, you're breathing to regulate your nervous system and communicate a sense of authority and control. And this helps your jurors feel a sense of calm and ease. Their nervous system regulates when you regulate yours. The pause also gives jurors time to mentally catalog and process what they've just heard or what they've just seen. They need some time to organize and store the information. You don't, which is why you're ready to move on and it feels kind of silly just staying put. This is the moment you have to remember who you're serving. You're not serving your comfort. You're not serving your pacing. You're serving their processing. This is not about you just getting through the info and checking off the boxes of evidence presentation. This is about you equipping them, and they need time. If you're expecting the jury to have a comprehensive and thoughtful discussion in the deliberation room, you have to give them time to move beyond the fleeting existence of working memory and get to retention. That happens when you pause. It's the difference between something being heard and something being remembered. Their brain evaluates the information and connects it to other core knowledge or personal memories that they have, helping it to anchor and take root. Their brain also can do micro predictions, not enough to fill in the gaps and tune out, but enough to keep what they're hearing now and hearing what's next within a context. This is what deepens understanding. And depth, not speed, is what drives decision making. Depth of understanding will guide them to meaningful decision making for your client. Give them the space to think, and they'll give you the clarity you need. Until next time, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.